The movie Leave the World Behind is the perfect movie for somebody that is looking for symbols and hidden messages. Yesterday, I made a review on the movie Leave the World Behind saying that I did not like the movie from an entertainment standpoint, and that is true, I did not. If you're looking to sit down with a bowl of popcorn just to watch a flick for 2 hours, I think there's better ways to utilize your time. But if you're a person with a conspiratorial brain, if you're looking for signs, symbols, and hidden messages, this is the perfect movie for you. You can do a deep dive and explore the hidden messages and Easter eggs throughout this movie, just like with The Shining. Now, this movie is nowhere near as entertaining as The Shining, but The Shining does have a lot of hidden messages that people are still speaking about today. What makes this movie even more interesting is that it was produced and scripted by an ex-president, Barack Obama. So what I'm going to go ahead and do in this video is that it's not going to be a review. To see my review of this movie, I will link it in the comment section below. But this video is pretty much decoding certain scenes that I find interesting. In the opening scene, you have the simp father, who is played by Ethan Hawke, waking up surrounded by the number 666. In this scene, you're actually going to spot the number 666 twice. The first is very blatant, it's in your face. The second is hidden. The very first set of the number 666 you're going to notice is on the mug and the 2 clocks. This opening scene is very important. There's a lot going on in the scene because there's also a representation of duality. If you look at the mug, not only is there the number 6, but there's also the number 76, which represents 1776, when Congress voted to declare independence from England. So this is our very first hint of separation and conflict. Now, if you look at the clock, you will clearly see that it's 6 o'clock. It's 6:29, but it's still 6 o'clock. And if you look at the digital clock next to Ethan Hawke, you will see a lone 6. So the 6 on the mug, the 6 on the clock, and the 6 on the digital clock, yes, you do get 666. 666 represents the number of the beast. A great evil is coming. The number 666 is also equated with the name of the Antichrist. Many people still do believe that Barack Hussein Obama, the producer and the scriptwriter of this movie, is the Antichrist. While the name Barack does indeed have 6 letters, the name Hussein has 7, and the name Obama has 5. But if you add them all up, you do get 18. 3 times 6 is 18. But this scene also carries a second set of 666 that I don't see many people talking about. That is the color blue that is used on this wall. You have to remember, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to movies, every scene, every prop, every color is chosen very carefully. We have learned a lot when it came to the fires in Maui, researching lasers and the color blue, and we have found out that the frequency of the color blue is 666. This scene also has another hidden symbol and message in the lamps. If you look at both the lamps, they do represent the pillars of Freemasonry. The lamp on the left represents the pillar of the sun, and the lamp on the right represents the pillar of the moon. Blue is a very significant color in Freemasonry because Freemasons start their journey in a symbolic lodge known as the Blue Lodge. The color blue for Freemasons also represents a universal friendship and benevolence. The color blue is important for a Freemason. This is why you're going to see the color blue between the 2 pillars. As a Mason climbs higher into the ranks when they become a 33rd degree Mason and higher, because there are secret levels to Freemasonry, they start to become an enlightened one, and they do follow one religion, the Luciferian religion. This is also why the color blue is important to a higher Freemason, a 33rd degree Mason or higher, because the color blue also represents 666. Barack Obama and possibly the directors of this movie are high degree Freemasons. So like I said, this opening scene is very important. They are letting us know right from the start who is responsible for what is playing out in this movie, and possibly what is playing out in the real world as well. The World Economic Forum is also heavily involved. That is because the World Economic Forum are nothing but Masons as well. That is why they also surround themselves with the color blue. George Washington, the first official president of the United States, was also a Freemason. This could also be why we are seeing the number 76 in this scene. Like I said, there is a lot of information to be found in the opening scene of this movie, but I do believe what they're telling us who the main players are in the events that carry out in this movie. The very next scene, we actually see more proof of Freemasonry. It is the colored dress that Julia Roberts is wearing. The checkered flooring, which covers the floor of a Masonic lodge, is a representation of the ground floor of King Solomon's temple. It is a representation of the duality between good and evil. This checkered dress and these blue walls are letting us know who is involved here. Also, if you do have a good eye, you will notice a yellow owl on this drawing here. While the owl is not a symbol used in Freemasonry, it is a very important animal, a very important symbol to the powers that be. Matter of fact, it is a representation of a certain grove in California. There is a giant owl statue inside this grove where many sacrifices are performed. This owl symbol does represent knowledge and enlightenment. We are only 2 scenes in, and this movie is hitting us with a lot of symbolism. Now, I know some people are going to say you're reaching when it comes to the color of the dress and the owl, but like I said, Hollywood places things for a reason. They go through each scene with a fine-tooth comb. If they don't want something there, they don't want it there. But if they do want something there, it is meant to be seen. Again, in this scene, we have more 666 symbolism. The sun, who represents a perverse character, is wearing Beats by Dre. On either side of the headphones, you can see what looks like a B or the number 6. Also, he's wearing a blue shirt with the number 6 as well. Check out the checkered colored shorts, which once again represents Freemasonry. They are definitely not hiding the Freemason symbolism in this movie. Again, we see a lot of the color blue here, but also very interesting is the theme of Friends that plays out through this movie. It is believed that the cast of Friends are devil worshippers. Anthony Bourdain sent out a tweet before his suspicious passing that the cast of Friends between commercial breaks would chant "Hail Satan, Hail Satan." Also do find it odd how the theme of Friends plays out in this movie, and we had Matthew Perry's bizarre passing, which many people do state that his passing was actually a sacrifice. But I still believe that this still represents more of that satanic imagery we have been seeing throughout this film in only just about 2 to 3 scenes so far. Even the family car is blue. The color blue is very important to this movie for a reason. Once again, we see the number 76, and one would think this has to do with 1776, Independence Day for the United States of America. But the 76 that we keep seeing has nothing to do with separation from England. May 1st, 1776 is an important year for the powers that be. This is when the Bavarian Illuminati group was founded. The Bavarian Illuminati group is a movement of free thinkers and is probably the most prominent group associated with the name Illuminati. It was founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, professor of canon law and former Jesuit. Weishaupt actually wanted to replace Christianity with a religion of reason, and the members of his society called themselves perfectibilists. The society was carefully structured and divided into 3 main classes. He also made connections with a number of Masonic lodges, where his group often managed to gain a prominent position in the Freemason lodge. Bavarian Jesuit still has a connection and strong influence over high-level Freemasonry. Every scene is littered with Freemason imagery. We have the father right here wearing a checkered shirt and blue pants. And right next to Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, we see a painting with the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is not only important to Freemasonry, but also Hollywood as well. But many of those in Hollywood, many of the big players and many celebrities are also Freemasons as well, so it makes sense. In Freemasonry, the all-seeing eye represents the eye of God, serves as a reminder that humanity's thoughts and deeds are always observed by God, who is referred to in Masonry as the great architect of the universe. But like I said, the higher you go up in Freemasonry, you start to follow the Luciferian doctrine, which means this eye is not really the eye of God, but their God is Lucifer. So this, in actuality, is the eye of Lucifer. This movie is not being subtle whatsoever when it comes to their agenda and who they show their allegiance to. Movies like The Shining, you can study it for years and always find something new that correlates with today's world. But this right here is very blatant, it's very in your face. I think after this I will do a video on the symbolism in The Shining. But the Freemasons and Lucifer are in control over the events that happens to be unfolding in this movie, just like they are in control in real life. The next scene does show an uncontrolled ship making its way ashore, causing a lot of chaos. This ship is called the White Lion. Now, this does go back to US slavery, as the first ship to make its way ashore the United States with slaves was also called the White Lion. Now, one look at this scene and one could say that this means that slavery is coming to America. But I also do believe there is that duality of Freemasonry at work here, like we have seen with the other scenes. The lion is a very important to the journey of a Freemason entering that high level, that 33rd degree masonry. The lion is also known as the king of the beast, and we have been seeing nothing but 666 throughout this movie. The beast is arriving. During the Master Mason degree, the Freemason is given the lion's paw, which does symbol spiritual resurrection and immortality. Freemasons do use this symbol for themselves because this is a symbol of the tribe of Judah and Jesus Christ, the Messiah. This ship represents the journey, and this lion represents the spiritual enlightenment of the Freemason, who is now enlightened to the Luciferian doctrine. Deer also play a very important role in this movie as well. They are a very important symbol of doom. Basically harbingers of doom. They know something is wrong and they gather at this one spot. With everything going on in the world today between hacking and the conflict that's going on in the Middle East, we are seeing a rise of cases in the United States with zombie deer that are infected. Even though zombie deer or chronic wasting disease has always been a thing, we are seeing a drastic rise in the news when it comes to chronic wasting disease and deer. Chronic wasting disease, or mad deer, is just another term for mad cow disease. This movie could be letting us know that one of the signs of something like this actually playing out in real life could be a rise in mad deer cases. Ethan Hawke, who like I said is playing a very simp husband who comes off very inferior to his wife, is wearing a bikini kill shirt. If you don't know who they are a movement in feminism, and they are a contributing factor to the development of third wave feminism. Now, the theme of slavery and racism play heavily when this black family and white family meet. The white wife comes off as very untrustful to the black family, and the black daughter is aware of this. She noticed this. But this is only to show the division across America. The two rooms that we see, the upstairs bedroom with this painting of water, and the downstairs, which looks like a cabin, sort of comes off as a slave ship. Above, you do have the white masters overlooking the water, and below the deck, you do have the black slaves. The scene where the black family are in the basement, which looks like below the deck of a ship, you do even have the daughter saying, "What's next? Do they want us to fold their clothes too?" to symbolize more of that slavery. Now, while yes, these scenes do resemble slavery between white masters and black slaves, I also do believe there is some sort of duality here as well. That we are going to be slaves and stuck inside our home to an upcoming event. And we have already seen this unfold with the C-19 when there was lockdown, and they could be telling us lockdown 2.0 is on the way. There are hints of this as the movie progresses. Again, in the next scene, we are shown two lamps that represent the pillars of Freemasonry, and between them we see the color blue. But what's very important to note here is that both lampshades are being held up by the letter X. When it comes to ancient mystery religions, Freemasonry, and the occult, they do have a long history with the letter X. X is also used a lot in our society as well. Sexual content is labeled with 3 X's. The logo of Twitter has been replaced by Elon Musk with the letter X, and many do say that if you play around with the letter X, you will be given the sign of the compass and square of Freemasonry. You have X-Men, X marks the spot, Generation X, X gon' give it to you, and scary enough, you do have Disease X. Disease X, which they are saying has nothing to do with the C-19, but it will be 20 times worse than the C-19. Over 40 to 50 million people will lose their lives to this new illness that is coming. There is also a very mysterious disease that is seen in this movie. X is also the symbol of the Babylonian sun god. X was an ancient symbol of the sun deity, and the letter does carry with it sexual connotations. Freemasonry early on latched onto this letter exactly because of its paranormal significance as a sign of Lucifer, the solar sun god, which again makes a lot of sense because again, the higher you go, the more you follow the Luciferian doctrine. The Masonic Lodge also uses the letter X because of its sexual meanings and its Babylonian origins. Writing in the Scottish Rite Journal, the official journal of the Mother Supreme Council, 33rd degree Jim Trustner discussed the use of X in the ritual ceremony for the 17th degree Knight of the East and West. Trustner, a 33rd degree Mason, emphasized that the 17th degree ritual is one of the most powerful and profound degrees of the rite. Here Trustner stated, "We encountered raw spiritual energy, and we began to glimpse the spiritual power which is available to the person who is able to access it." So in this scene where we have the two X's that also act as a pillar with the blue between it in front of it, we do have an emergency broadcast on every station. Again showing that this secret society is playing heavily into this event. The Freemasonry symbolism and influence in this movie is very scary because as the movie progresses, we start to see cyber attacks across the country, which is perfect timing for this movie to be released, because as of yesterday and a few days prior, the United States has been alarmed as China hacks critical systems. Chinese hackers targeted Texas Power Grid, Hawaii Water Utility, and other critical infrastructures. But get this, it's just not China, it's also Iran. Iran has been hacking our water systems. Now, this movie, this fictional America that was created, published, scripted, and directed by high-level Freemasons, does deal with the same events that we are dealing with today. Isn't that such an odd coincidence? Their fictional America is dealing with all their enemies coming together to hack America, China, Iran, Russia, Korea, and so forth. New York and the East Coast could very well be one of the first places that are hit or are invaded, because we are seeing migrants, men who are of battle age, men who look like they could be in their 20s and their 30s, making their way to the border and into the United States. And these men come from all different countries, including Iran and China. They are all then bussed off to New York. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if a major attack, a power outage, and an attack occurs in New York or on the East Coast. We did have in September, a month prior to this conflict in the Middle East, on October 7th. But in September, there were signs popping up in New Jersey to report acts of terror. This Spanish-speaking lady right here also plays a critical role when it comes to the current state of the United States. They are showing us in our face, in an event like this, a very terrifying event where we do have two people who are scared, yet they can't understand each other. This is how divided the United States is, and they are showing us this division. These two people cannot come together because they are divided by language. This movie is filled with hidden symbolism and duality, and this scene, what it's telling us is just not race, but everything in America divides us. And when something like this happens, we will be separated, we will be apart, we will not be able to unite once a catastrophe occurs. This scene obviously speaks for itself. You do have the boy on the left that has a shirt that says obey, and you have the girl on the right that says NASA, and it was perfectly placed that way, so it reads out obey NASA. This is just more proof that this movie placed everything where it needed to be. For the average person, this is just more propaganda being placed into their subconscious. Do not question the signs, do not question NASA. Everything we are seeing and shown is the truth. Obey NASA. Now, some also do state that the word NASA, the NASA we see in this logo, is an anagram for the word Satan. The red we see does look like a serpent's tongue, but it also could be made out to look like the letter T. And so NASA, along with the letter T in red, backwards could mean Satan, which is not hard to believe when we have a movie that is showing us 666 numerous times, that is showing us the color blue numerous times, where the color blue is associated with the frequency 666. We also have many themes of the occult and Freemasonry. So I can see them telling us in this movie to obey Satan, turn to Satan if you want to be saved. Now, I know this is an image of Andre the Giant on this Obey shirt, but I swear this looks like a distorted image of Barack Obama. There is also a scene where a plane is falling out of the sky and it starts to crash. Anybody that is a longtime viewer of this channel will know I have been covering a ton of bizarre plane stories as of 2023. But the scariest thing about planes currently is that they are targets of severe hacking in ways we have never seen before, where planes are completely losing their navigational systems. One of the main characters, played by Mahershala Ali, states that he saw a plane nosedive into the ocean, and that it wasn't the first. There was another movie released in 2023 directed by M. Night Shyamalan, Knock at the Cabin, shows how planes will play a vital role in the end times. The movie states that after scary natural disasters in ways that the world has never seen before, planes will just start to fall out of the sky. As of 2023, we have just seen an explosion, a rise in horrifying plane stories in the news. What was once known as the gold standard of travel, the safest way to travel, is anything but as of 2023. The characters also start to hear a very loud buzzing as well, which reminds me of what happened on October 4th, the nationwide alerts and alarms going off on people's cell phones and TVs. This movie was worked on in 2021-2022. Towards the end of 2023 when it was released. I highly doubt they had all these scenes right after the events of October 4th played out, and many of these events that are playing out in this movie that have played out in 2023. It's very scary to see how much Barack Obama and the others who have created this movie were able to predict. Matter of fact, if the title of this movie was called 2023, it would pretty much be spot on. Then we see a scene how a bunch of white Teslas are blocking the road. This eerily reminds me of Maui, how Maui was blocked off and there was no escape for some people. They are also showing us with these Teslas that are crashing how easy they can be hacked during times like this and how you will lose control of your car, which is a scary scene because the World Economic Forum, the ones in control of all of this, want us to stop driving gas-powered cars and start to drive electric cars. They even show us a scene where Julia Roberts is looking at the driver's manual and she's reading how these cars are driverless cars. They're automatic cars. She puts two and two together and realizes that these cars have been hacked and they're now used as weapons. And again, this is a script written by Barack Obama, who he and his party are pushing us to drive these cars to help fight climate change. There is no way out of this city. Cars are blocking the road. There is a fire brewing. Once again, eerily reminding me of Maui. In the scene where the son is spanking the old monkey, we can see above him again the letter X. As I said previously in this video, the letter X means depravity. There is a sexual ritual taking place in this scene involving a young boy. The scene right after this, directly after this, we show the infamous bathtub, where a lot of celebrities are sacrificed. One who also includes Matthew Perry, where many people are saying that he was sacrificed in his hot tub during a full moon. This also makes it extra creepy because we are shown friends multiple times throughout this movie. Like I said previously, everything in this movie has been properly placed for a reason. Out of all the albums that Julia Roberts could have pulled out, she does pull out this particular album that does have a person on the cover doing the Freemason vow of silence. Freemasons take this vow not to divulge the secrets of Freemasonry. Again, just another example how much influence and power high-level Masons have over the events that are taking place. The very next scene, we show Julia Roberts turn on the music player, and there are two numbers, 33 and 45. She sets it to 33, again symbolizing the 33rd degree Mason, the highest level, the highest known level of a Master Mason. There are higher levels than 33, but 33 is officially known. And once you hit that 33rd degree level, you are fully enlightened to the Luciferian doctrine. Once again, out of all the numbers she could have set it to, she sets it to 33. Not a coincidence whatsoever, given the fact that this movie is plastered with Masonic imagery. Towards the end of the movie, there is really no hidden symbols to take note of. I'm not going to go ahead and spoil the ending of the movie, but it's very clear that this movie is a play-by-play of everything that is taking place today. This movie is a quick speed up of everything that is taking place in 2023 and onward. We have mysterious sicknesses, we have an invasion, we have hackers, we have a United States that is completely divided and weakened by people who do not understand each other, that are easily being conquered from the inside. This movie comes off as a ritualistic instruction manual as to what's going to take place, designed by occultists. They leave their designs and symbols all over this movie. It's pretty much a signature. This movie's even telling us that towards the end, cash will be useless. You need to have other resources for a currency. That conspiracy theorists are right. Conspiracy theorist played by Kevin Bacon was correct in order to stock resources, and those that have no savings, those that not have stocked up, will be helpless in the end. The movie ends with a hint of a civil conflict brewing across America. And we are easily seeing this today. If you pay close attention to what they're showing you, they are letting you know who is in control of everything. The movie tells you that there is no such thing as conspiracy theorists, there is nobody in charge, but at the end of the day, they are just sowing those seeds of confusion with all their symbols laid out throughout the movie. This movie is perhaps one of the most in-your-face, blatant, occultic movie that foretells what's coming to America. And it makes a lot of sense once you understand who is the producer and the scriptwriter behind this movie, a high-level Freemason. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.